Welcome back to the Dragon's Den. I'm SinDragonLord, and this is week number 5 of the Global Pokemon Society Draft League Season 10. Excuse me. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. So this week we're going against the Mid-Valley Meowths. And they're a new team that joined us this season, so I don't have a whole lot of information on them. We have been talking a little bit on Discord about VGC regulation, the new Worlds format for VGC, which is Regulation D, and so we have been kind of sort of going back and forth talking about that and figuring out how to best prepare for that. And they're pretty much the only ones that have even been talking about Regulation D besides me in the Discord. So I can imagine that he's at least knowledgeable enough to know what my team could potentially offer and how to combat it. So he is rocking a very similar team that we are, in the sense that they have a really strong Defiant user. I think in terms of overall viability, we have the better Defiant user, but King Gambit is definitely nothing to scoff at. Then we got Grimmsnarl for screen support. And then we got Gengar, got Serena, Noivern, Tauros Combat, Samurott, Rotom Fan, and Beardick. As you can see, I already kind of have an idea of what I think they might want to bring, as well as what I'm bringing. So on the right hand side, I'm thinking he's gonna bring the entire left page and Rotom Fan, just because I feel like in terms of like what does the best against what I'm bringing, I feel like Rotom Fan is. Me. Now let's go into what I'm bringing. So, pretty standard Annihilate set, but we changed the Terra type to Terra Steel. The reason for this is, yes, we still risk the burn, potentially on Rotom and potentially Gengar maybe, with Will-O-Wisp. But, having Terra Steel means that we have the ability to resist and basically kind of wall the Kingambit, because most Kingambit are running Terra Flying, and that would honestly probably be the best Terra type for him to use against me. So with Terra Steel, we're able to resist 2 of his moves, and we're neutral to Sucker Punch and fuck. Something clean. I already forgot the name of the move. Hang on. I feel dumb right now. My brain just went. Pfft. Kotal Cleave. There we go. Kotal Cleave. So now they could be running a couple different things. They could be running Black Glasses with like Sucker Punch, Kotal Cleave, Iron Head, Terra Blast Flying. Or they could be running Assault Vest, and they could be adding on Assurance to that. I've seen that as well. So in either scenario, I feel like Terra Steel is the best option. And if he does reveal a different Terra type that makes it to where I don't need to Terra the Annihilate, then I just won't. And we'll also know that going into the game what Terra type he is, because we kind of have open sheet as far as that goes, as far as like knowing what the Terra types are. And then we have Grafai. We're actually running a little bit of a different set this time. We are going with a more offensive Grafai. with Swords Dance knockoff, Gunk Shot, and Taunt. The reason I wanted to go with this rather than standard Grafai line is because if you look at its S and A tier, they're both immune to Prankster. So having a bunch of Prankster like disruptive moves that are gonna affect the opponent, he can play around that pretty easily. So I decided rather than try to disrupt him, let's buff us up. And then we also have Taunt, because like I said, we do have to sort of respect the Willow from the Rotom and the Gengar. So being able to shut those down to help protect Annihilate is going to be important, I feel like. And this also will combo well with another Mon that we have. I don't know how well it's going to work. It's kind of in the testing phases. But if I feel like it's worth bringing, bring it. So for the sake of... So just in case I opt not to do it, I'm not going to reveal the spice in the pre-vid, just because I might use it later and I don't want people to be ready for it. So then we have Weavile. So Weavile is interesting because Weavile has a pretty good match up against most of this team. I mean, Ice Spinner hits Rotom and Serena and Noivern for super effective damage. Beat Up is able to one-shot Gengar through Focus Sash. Low Kick is able to knock out the King Gambit, barring Terrestrialization. But if he does Terra Flying, then Ice Spinner is able to do it as well. And then Grimmsnarl is just, I mean, that's probably the worst one for it to go into, but we have other answers to Grimmsnarl. So yeah, Weavile I feel like is going to be pretty damn good because it outspeeds everything and is able to hit everything for super effective damage. And we slapped the Expert Belt on just to ensure that Low Kick does KO. Because I think without Expert Belt, Low Kick does a minimum of 90%, so it's not a guaranteed one-shot. But with Expert Belt, it is. And then we got Tauros. So because of the fact that we have to respect Defiant, and the fact that the rest of his physical threats aren't that threatening, he has Baradic, but it's slow, and there's no Slush Rush. So there's like no snow. So we don't have to worry about it being faster than anything. The other one's Samurott, but kind of a similar situation. We can deal with Samurott pretty well, I think. But the main thing is I don't want to be in a situation where I have Intimidate and King Gambit's on board. So we came up with a different strat which will serve sort of a similar purpose. It'll just allow us to take on King Gambit a little bit better. And that's running Kudju. So, for those of you who may not be aware, Kudju is a new ability, and when a Pokemon eats a berry, it'll eat the same berry on the following turn. So basically, you get Citrus Berry twice. So once we go down to half, it'll basically restore most. Like if we go down to exactly half, we can just protect the following turn, and then we'll go right back up to full. Now, how often are we going to be put to exactly half? Not very often. It would be quite a treat, but we'll at least get up to like 90%. And we also have max defense, same as normal. We also have Will-O-Wisp and Body Press, Raging Bull, because Raging Bull will be pretty crucial in being able to disrupt any sort of screens that he might want to set up. So, on top of being immensely physically bulky, being able to essentially wall that King Gambit on its own, barring Terra Flying, is pretty insane. We resist all of its base stab moves. We're not giving it a Defiant boost, so it's not going to get stronger. And we also have the Citrus Berry to help us keep us healthy. So I feel like this will be a really good set to go into this week's matchup. And then we're going to skip the Oricorio, because like I said, I kind of want to keep that spice to myself. And then we have Uh, then we have Limit Breaker. So it's just another good fake out user. It has access to Quick Guard, which could help protect us from things like Sucker Punch, uh, disruptive prankster moves, and things like that. Uh, and we also have Close Combat and Zen Headbutt, just to cover our basis as far as just being able to hit things. I wanted to fit on Bullet Punch, that way we could actually hit the Grimmsnarl for super effective damage. But then I'd be giving up Quick Guard or Fake Out, and I just didn't want to do either of those. So, Close Combat should do quite a bit to the Grimmsnarl regardless. So anyway, yeah, that is this week's report. I feel pretty solid, but I'm not overlooking the mid-value Meowths. I don't know too much about them and their skill set. I do know they are X and 1 right now, but their only loss was due to a forfeit due to scheduling issues. So they've won every match that they have been able to participate in. So I'm not overlooking them or anything like that. But I do feel pretty confident in our game plan. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the battle portion of this video right about now.